For the music, it's conscious music, and it points to an issue that has been on the top of our minds for such a long time right now, Galamsey, illegal mining. And for over 2 years now, this show, GTV Breakfast, has highlighted the devastating effects of illegal mining, Galamsey, by keeping a bottle of polluted water from the Pra on the set. So this is the first one we started with. So this is it, River Pra. So year after year, we kept visiting the rivers to find out exactly what the condition of these rivers were, to find them heavily polluted. But then last week, we took a trip to the western region, and something unexpected was what we saw. In the next hour, we'll be joined by Aristus Asaridonko, who is a seasoned anti-Galamsey journalist, and Awula Sewa, who is with Eco-Conscious Citizens. She's an environmental activist. We're going to be discussing the reasons behind what we saw, the ongoing illegal mining activities, and what this government must do to protect the water bodies permanently. On the Zoom right now, I have Awula Sewa. Good morning, Awula. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So,
and you?
Yeah, so I'm doing very well. We're happy to have you on the conversation. We'll be joined by Aristus Asaridonko in a while. But from your point of view, what's the latest in your fight against Galamsey? What have you been up to so far?
Well, as you know, we've had a change of administration, but nothing has really changed as far as we are concerned in the fight against Galamsey. If I don't really like the word Galamsey, I prefer illegal mining.
Okay.
We face a national emergency. We have asked for a state of emergency so that we can go to the forest reserves and the water bodies and remove the illegal miners and their equipment. We face an existential threat which has not gone away. So I commend you and others who are still covering illegal mining.
Thank you very much.
Because it hasn't gone away.
It hasn't gone away. Mm-hmm. Give us a sense of what your work entails. What have you done, and what are some of the achievements, some of the obstacles to you getting the message across? What do you guys do?
We've continued highlighting what is going on. We have other cases we are dealing with. For example, there's the case in Atronsu where the activists were resisting so-called community mining, which we see as illegal mining because it was poisoning or polluting the Atronsu stream. Surprisingly, the activists were at a certain time put in custody during Farmers' Day, but have them released, and the case is going on. So we keep on highlighting. We've written an open letter to the president, informing him of the fact that the ecocide is ongoing, our water bodies, food chain being poisoned, and that we must renew the fight. We can't just focus on oral and other things. So we have done what we can do to let us all know that the fight is ongoing. We've also written with other organizations to the police, the Speaker of Parliament, regarding the parliamentarian who was alleged to be involved in illegal mining in Ayinase. He has since, I believe, been banished from the area. So we are not interested in musical chairs, one set of people operating in illegal mining being replaced by another set. All we want is for illegal mining to stop. And this cannot stop because some of them are highly armed. And that's why they've been able to attack journalists and others who have gone to highlight the situation. So we are asking for a state of emergency. And we are also asking for a pause in community mining until we can get our act together. We're asking for all those who were mentioned in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report to be investigated, prosecuted, and if found guilty, for the polluter pays policy to prevail. So that in addition to any other sanctions, their property should be used towards their reclamation. So these are the things that we are doing, pushing on until our cry is heard that we cannot stop this menace without a state of emergency. And of course, we've asked for LI 2462 to be repealed, and this hasn't been done. It's a perverse piece of legislation, and it allows mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. The previous administration had agreed to repeal it, so one cannot understand why it hasn't yet been repealed. And look at the waters on your screen. And may I add at this point that even where the water is clear, there's no guarantee that there's no cyanide or mercury in it because they are colorless and odorless.
So a lot to unpack there. I'm just curious about your reaction, the reaction to the letters that you have sent. I mean, you wrote to the speaker, you wrote to various organizations. Have you gotten any responses from them?
Well, we are told that they are listening and we are waiting for official responses, which we have not yet received. But we will keep on. We'll keep on. And we thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, so that's...
that the CAPCA hasn't gone away.
Mm-hmm. So Aula Sewa from Eco-Conscious Citizens with her initial comments and just giving us a sense of what they've been up to up until now. So I want to just play this little piece that we did. We went over to the Western region last Saturday. It was like a 600-kilometer round trip. And the objective was to find out what the state of the rivers were like. This is the Pra from 2 years ago. And we're wondering, what's the water like now? So take a look at this, and then we'll come back and have a conversation with Awola. And hopefully we'll have Eresis Asaridonko also to have a conversation on illegal mining in Ghana. For over 2 years, this bottle sat on this desk. Its murky brown contents, a grim reminder of the destruction caused by illegal mining known as Galamsey. Week after week, month after month, we kept this bottle here, hoping that a change would come and things would be different.
The first of the family is here, King Kaf is here, Alan is here, Jay is on the interactive screen. So we're going to have glasses. This is water from Pratt, by the way. So there it is. Our conversation today is on Galamsey. Our phone lines are going to be open. Our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. I'm going to hand this over to JJ. Scoot over and have your glass. There you go.
Right, thank you.
It looks like lemon G. This is sad. This is sad.
Year after year, we went back to the rivers that once gave life, but had become poisoned by greed. Each time, we found the same heartbreaking reality: polluted, lifeless water. Oh. It's like coffee, man. It's like coffee and milk. How can we do this to our river, man? Last week, we took a 550-kilometer round trip across Ghana from Accra to the Western region to once again check on two of the worst-hit rivers, the Ankobra and the Pra. But this time, something was different. For the first time in years, the rivers didn't look brown. The thick, muddy pollution seemed to have faded. Okay, so it's February 8th, 2025, 12:20 p.m., and I'm on the Ankobra Bridge. I was curious about the quality of the water. We've been checking out the quality of water since 2022, and we thought we'll find out what's happening 2025. So we're going to check out what the water looks like and compare it to previous times to see whether there's an improvement or not. Okay, so I'm going to fetch some of the water from the Ankobra. When we fetched new samples, the water looked clearer, transparent, almost normal. So I've come up from where I fetched the water. It looks remarkably clean. It will be interesting to find out what kind of chemicals are in it or are not in it. So this water needs to be tested, but this is from the Ankobra, fetched on the 8th of February, around about 12:45 p.m. Big difference from the last time we were here. Just look at the difference. But as we made our way through the region, we saw a contradiction. The illegal miners, the Galamseyers, they were still there, still digging, still watching, still destroying. So what changed? If the mining never stopped, why do these rivers suddenly look better? Is there a natural recovery happening? Have interventions started working? Or have the miners simply changed their methods? For over 2 years, we have kept this campaign alive. We've watched these rivers suffer. And now, for the first time, are we seeing hope? But hope alone is not enough. We must ask the hard questions. We must keep watching. Because if we look away now, how long before these rivers turn brown again? And we can now speak with journalist and anti-illegal mining activist. He has, at the risk of his life, he's been doing this work for such a long time now. Erastus Asari-Donkor. Good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. Should we be excited because the water from the Pra and the Ankobra now look like this?
Excited, yes, because naturally that's how it's supposed to be. And so if you see the rivers green like that, for a very long time we've not seen it green like that. So when you see it aesthetically, it looks so beautiful. But let's take a look at why it's always at the estuary where it joins the sea, and not at areas like Banso, Douale, and Wolenzo, deep into the Nzema area. At Pristia, Hemai Bridge, for example. Why is it always at the estuary? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. And I have always said that the estuary is a bad test point for whether Galamsey is easing or not. Because there is this phenomenon that has been tested over time. At high tide, you have the sea blowing across the river for miles. It goes beyond the bridge like you saw. It can stay there for hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. But when you go beyond, about 7 kilometers beyond the bridge, that is where you see the actual color of the Ankobra. So I am happy that this is showing you that the sharp contrast of how the river should be, the color, and what it actually is. In fact, when your producer called me, I told him that I'll be hesitant to jubilate over that. I'll be hesitant to conduct any interview on that until I have checked on the ground myself. And yes, I have checked. I've sent you some pictures of the Ankobra River yesterday, as it looked like at the Pristia source point. This is the actual color of the Ankobra.
Still brown or golden brown?
Yes, if this is actually the actual color of the Ankobra as it flows towards Axim. do you think what you saw is the actual color of the Ankubra around those areas? And so it's only a matter of time. I always say, let's wait. It has happened before. If you remember, the former Deputy Lands Minister, Mrekuduka, took journalists to the place. And then within a day or two, it went back to the original color. I went there. I filmed it. I crossed it. I stayed on that Ankubra River for 4 hours. Shot drone footages of who was mining on the river, the mining that was really happening in certain portions of the Ankubra River, and I showed it. So let's wait. Only time will tell. But I'm showing you pictures of the Ankubra at the Prestia source point. There are certain other portions. I'm waiting for those pictures. I'll forward them to you as well, and you get to see the real color. And this is how it looks like.
Erastus,
at the Prestia point as at yesterday.
In your estimation, is the level of mining activity increasing, constant, or decreasing?
Well, we have seen a number of champagne machines still sitting on the Ankubra at the Prestia source point where my contact person shot these pictures. I had wanted him to go closer, but you know the actual danger, and I understand him when he's not able to take pictures of the champagne machines sitting on the Ankubra as we speak. So quite a number of them at various portions of the river. The same applies to the Pra River. Mining is still ongoing on certain portions of it. When you go to the Anglo Beach, the Shama area, you will see the real color of the Pra River as we speak. At Dabwase and along Pifu Praso and this environment, we've seen a lot of activity of champagne operators and some miners who have pitched their mining camps at the edge of the river. To me, that's the most wicked thing you can ever do to a country, where you pitch your mining residue point.
We'll try and clear up that line with Erastus Asari Donko, telling us that in spite of the apparently improved color of the water, there is mining going on around the Prestia area on the Ankubra, and it's polluting the rivers in the Shama area as well, where the Pra flows. There is still mining going on. You did see it in the video that we had earlier on towards the end, where you saw that on the way back to Accra, we actually found people by the roadside doing their own thing there, and this fight doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon, does it, Erastus?
No, it is not ending anytime soon. Fresh people have taken over, I can confirm. And that's what people don't want to hear from me, but it is the truth. Soon as power change stands, we have seen new people joining the fray. We just came from Kwabena, which is within the Bekwai municipality. And if you see the number of excavators that have pitched camp in that area, destroying wetlands in the town, which forced the chief of the area to invite us to, one, educate his people, and two, to also film the devastation that is going on within the area. Some of the miners we spoke to, well, on the ground, some of them told us, well, they have the backing of some, people, and though they do not have the requisite mining licenses, they are still mining in those areas. Very soon you see pictures of that flowing. We have started our own checks, just like we did previously, and very soon we'll be showing those reports across the country from community to community to tell you the situation on the ground.
Before I go to Awola Sewa, Erastus, I want to ask you one question. Does the environment for your work feel different now that you have a new government in power, or it's still the same? Has it changed? Anything changed?
In fact, Kafi, that question is some way. You see, previously there were threats, fiscal threats, and they were real. Now, when I see the kind of people who are pitched camp in forest reserves, I dare not go there. And so if you have realized, most of the reports I'm doing right now, I'm doing them through people. We give drones to people who have assets and who have security to be able to go in there, shoot the videos for us, and then we'll do the story from that end. For example, the people who pitched camp at the Tanoanya Forest Reserve recently were NDC groups. I say NDC groups because these are known NDC activists who pitched camp within the forest right after power change stands, and they are fully armed. When I say armed, they are armed like they are going to war. And already the two groups have fought, killed 2 people, and injured a number of people, persons as well in that forest, in the fight for gold. So yes, things have changed. Now, the people who have taken over know from the previous issues that there are people who occasionally come in there. There are forest guards who occasionally come in there. And so they've armed themselves to the point that they are telling you, if you come, we will deal with you. We are prepared to kill you and continue what we want to do. In fact, the Tanoanya invasion, they sent forest guards, the rapid response unit, who are armed to the area. After destroying equipment and coming back to town, they were chased by the illegal miners on motorbikes. Some of them were accosted, taken to places and given hot beating. In fact, one sustained a machete wound in the palm. I did that report and showed pictures of it. Now, the lives of these forest guards are at risk. Many of them cannot even venture into the forest areas where they have to do their jobs, protecting the forest. And so I have constantly said that this government needs to make a statement. That statement must be strong, must be urgent. It must send waves down to the illegal mining field to tell people that they mean business. Aside that, what I'm seeing now is not doing any trick. It's not working.
I'll bring in Awula Sewa right now, Erastus. Awula, what do you make of what you've heard from Erastus?
Well, I mean, I commend Erastus he and others putting their lives at risk, even though they've been beaten, they still continue. I mean, they deserve all the praise and all our prayers. But I have to say that, you see, to see people put their lives at risk to highlight what is going on, and then no action is being taken, it's heartbreaking. We have said over and over again, if you really want to stop this situation, it's very simple. Army officers have told us that they can stop this within 3 months or even less. Give them the authority to act with no political interference. Declare a state of emergency. You see, we are facing national security threats. They are heavily armed. They can even repel armed response teams. We don't want to go the way of some Latin American countries where the drug cartels control certain areas and there are no-go areas. We are getting there. For heaven's sake, declare a state of emergency or issue an executive order. I mean, it's laughable to say that we are all involved. Everybody should play their role. Of course, we are all playing their role. But what can we do where their people are heavily armed? Let's be serious. Declare a state of emergency, flush them out, and then make it quite clear that anybody who goes back, well, you can't even go back, but if you do attempt, you'll be severely dealt with. If we're not prepared to do that, what we are doing is just hitting our heads against a brick wall, putting our lives at risk, highlighting those who should take the necessary action, who have the resources to take the necessary action, refuse to do so, and just take us round in circles. I mean, you can issue strong statements, but if you're not prepared to take the necessary action, it's an exercise in futility.
So, Awula, you're a lawyer. What does declaring a state of emergency mean? What will it look like?
Well, it will look like the president using his executive powers. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened at COVID. We could do what we wanted to do. Use your executive orders and declare that certain areas are now no-go areas. Get the military, who are well trained, very disciplined when they want to, and you are the commander-in-chief of the army. Make sure that they go to those areas that are under siege and ensure that all those who need not be there are removed and that the forest guards can do their work. As it is now, the forest guards cannot do their work in some areas. Civilians cannot go there. The journalists who have the interest of the country at heart and go there are threatened, and some of them have suffered the consequences. So the president knows what to do. It's the political will to do so that is lacking. It's the political will to do so. He can do it tomorrow if he's minded to do so. If he actually understands that we face an existential threat, apart from the health issues, rising kidney disease, deformed babies, maternal deaths, and then the poisoning of our water bodies. Water is life. What are we going to do when all that water is poisoned? We also know that the peasant farmers and fishermen are at the risk of losing their livelihood because of the poisoned soil. We know that foodstuffs like yam and plantain have been shown to contain mercury. And let me reiterate that even where the water seems to be clearing, it doesn't mean that we can jump up and say hooray. It means that the water needs to be tested. We need to still remove the mercury and cyanide and any poisons that remain. So now, apart from the existential threats, the ecocide, we also face national security issues. And if we don't start stopping it yesterday by declaring a state of emergency, we are all at risk. So I'm appealing to the president, who is commander-in-chief of the army, to do the needful to protect Ghana. Otherwise, everything he's doing, whether oral or whatever it is, it's futile. What's the point of recouping all the money that had stolen when we are all being poisoned to death?
Awula, before I come back to Erastus, what do you think accounted for the inability of the former president Akufo-Addo to declare that state of emergency, and more importantly, the current president? What's the obstacle to just declaring this state of emergency? What do you think it is?
It's not inability, it's unwillingness. As I keep on saying, the political will isn't there. Let's be absolutely clear. The illegal mining is being done by players, some of whom we saw from Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, are highly connected to those in power. And it's a question of the two sides of the, when I say two sides, you have more than two political parties, but the main two parties, both have players who are involved. Let's call a spade a spade. Both have players who are highly involved, and therefore they're finding it very difficult to clamp down on it. They can't put the interest of Ghana first. They are putting political interest first. They forget that Ghana belongs to us, all of us. When you are eating a tube of yam, it doesn't say that, oh, if you're from a certain political party, it will poison you. If you are not, it will not poison you. Let's try and put Ghana first. So it's not inability, it's unwillingness. The political will isn't there. We think that by making statements and hiding our heads under the sand like ostriches, the problem will go away. The problem is becoming worse every minute that we refuse to take the action we know we should take. We are in a position to take. We have the resources to take. The only thing lacking is the political will, because there are high players involved who the party thinks it needs them to survive. They don't realize that they need Ghanaians to survive. The last elections, many people did not vote for the current administration. They voted against the last administration. So that should be a cautionary tale to all in authority that do the right thing. Do the right thing. Put Ghana first.
Thanks, Awula. I'm going to go to Erastus now. Erastus, I'm just wondering, is there any way we can mine without affecting our river bodies? Has it always been so?
So many ways. There are so many ways, Kafi. It will shock you to know that this thing is not rocket science. Just go in there, get the license, get the Minerals Commission, the Water Resources Commission, the EPA to come and inspect the land. They should know whether you are not close to a water body, as specified by our own buffer zone policy. They should know that you have your tailings dam, you have everything. They should do an environmental impact assessment. And when they are done, they should do a community forum for the people in the area to know that you're going to do mining in there and how it's going to affect them and how you intend to mitigate those effects. And then you are given your digging permit. You start mining. You get your first layer somewhere, your second layer somewhere. You dig, you direct your residue into a settling pond and you treat it before you open it up, everybody is happy. The nation will get their taxes, all right. And then you get your gold. Everybody is happy, the environment is happy. Why is this so difficult to do? But you see, it is difficult and a bit expensive because your profit margins will come down. And people are so greedy to the point that when they have power, they think they should abuse it. Once I have power, I control the military, I control everybody. I can hide in the forest reserve somewhere and do it. There are people, I can tell you, who have gone through this process. They want to do the right thing. They have paid monies. They continue to pay. The data they have generated on where the gold deposit is, the geological data, there are people within these administrations who get to know that, okay, there is gold here per his data that he has brought. Once he's going through the process, let's go behind him and mine. And they have done that. A case in study is the Tano Anyang Forest Reserve. Clean Jobs has the right concession. They are going through the process. But then, how many people have invaded that forest? Plenty. And they've eaten a large portion of it. So before he gets his license and the digging permit and want to go there, the resources are gone. So it is easy to do the right thing. You just need a leader to whip everybody in line and say, enough is enough. Like Ewula said, mining on water bodies is not only criminal, it's punishable by a custodial sentence. It's in our laws. So why do we consistently, at the municipal level, at the district level, allow people to sit with champagne machines on a riverbed to mine? Why are we allowing the people you saw in your video directing their residue into the river?
The layman is
going
to ask you, we can do. A layman is going to ask you, what is the link between rivers and gold? Can you mine gold without touching rivers? Is it possible?
So, Kafui, there is a belief. You see, many of the miners are mining blindly. They do not generate any geological data to know where the ore is. I have seen instances where people have mined on the surface at Manso, and when they were done and gone, somebody has gone in there, done his geological studies, drilled and gotten samples, and realized that the chunk of the gold itself has not been touched. It's beneath the devastation. So people are mining blindly. And when you mine blindly, it means that there is a notion that all deposits, when it rains, collects within the river or the wetland. And so there is the belief that once you see a wetland, the possibility or the probability that you'll find gold in there is like 80%. And that is why you see people attacking river bottom.
I think we've lost the line to Erastus, but we'll try and regain it. But he was just explaining.
You tap into that registry, and you pay something. And then...
Erastus, are you there? Okay, we'll probably go back.
You dig and you don't get the gold here, you move to another area, you dig and you keep digging until you've destroyed the entire land.
And this law that permits people to mine in forests, Erastus, just your thoughts on that.
You see why the current administration is dragging its feet. I do not know why, but I can hazard a guess. It looks as if everybody thinks that the contribution of the small-scale mining sector to the economy is huge, so let's not touch it. Let's maintain it. Let's massage it. Let's dance around it, small, and let's continue to do it. But at what cost? In fact, if we were to do the environmental cost alone, the health cost to our hospitals, facilities that we do not even have, just oppose that with the gold that is coming out and its contribution to the economy, you will realize that we are running at a loss. And so the best thing is to start doing the right thing, sustainable mining. We have new equipment that have come that will allow us to get more of the gold without even using chemicals like cyanide and mercury that currently we are using. So I will tell you that the politician thinks that not doing the right thing, in fact, at this point, is what they need. And so they don't really want to touch certain things. And people have taken advantage of the power they have to continue to mine in certain areas that are not supposed to.
Let me get back to Awola for some policy measures to tackle illegal mining. I know you've spoken about the state of emergency that you think needs to be declared yesterday. What other policy measures are you recommending, Awola? Before I let you go.
Let me sort of reiterate some of the things Erastus said.
Sure.
I have said that. First of all, you also need to repeal LI 2462, which allows for mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. But let's also be very, very clear. You can do your geological surveys. If you find out that the gold is in a globally significant biodiversity area, it's a no-go area. And also, the difficulty we have is enforcement. We appear to be allergic to enforcement. There are regulations. You can't go within certain parameters of river bodies. People do it, nobody does anything about it. And as Erastus rightly said, mining is an expensive business to start with. You don't just start willy-nilly. You need to have the huge reservoirs to store the water where you're going to wash your gold and so on and so forth, and keep it there for a while, treat it before you release it. This isn't done. Even where people have licenses, a lot of the time they're engaging in illegal mining in the sense that they don't get a digging license, they have maybe a mining license, they just go and mine willy-nilly, and they don't have the huge reservoirs they have to keep the water. Who is monitoring? I've given the example of Atronsu, where somebody claiming to have a community license was polluting the water bodies. I contacted the EPA. To date, I don't know that they've gone there. I contacted them in September.
Environmental Protection Agency.
Yes, the Environmental Protection Agency. They were asking where the people were. We showed them the location and so on and so forth. They drew our attention to the fact that you don't just have to have a license, you need a digging license. They didn't have a digging license. They were just polluting the water bodies. And nothing was done about it until I think 2 of the excavators were burnt. And anyway, for now, it has stopped. But the point I'm making is that the reason why we said pause community mining is that we're not able to monitor. We're not able to enforce anything. You have thousands and thousands and thousands of community mining operators. And if you're not able to monitor, potentially they can do as they please. Right. So pause it until you get your act together. The laws are there already. The difficulty we have is that we are allergic to enforcing laws. And therefore, even where people are openly mining in the water bodies, you've got the footage, nothing is being done. We are dragging our feet. And as has already been pointed out, what is it we are doing? It doesn't make any sense. When we are all dying of kidney failure, we don't even have enough dialysis machines. Our health budget is going to need so much more funding. What would we have achieved? Absolutely nothing. So either mine responsibly or just pause it and look at the green economy, other things you can do apart from mining. Our forest is a huge reserve for medicinal products, so many things that we are ignoring. We have something like snails. You know that the slime on snails is used, for example, in aging products. There's so much that we can do, but destroying and poisoning our water bodies and our land, I'm sorry to use the word, but it sheer stupidity. It sheer stupidity. Because what is going to happen right now is that we soon will not be able to drink the water. And let's remember that Ghana Water Company does not remove the mercury or cyanide from the water. So even where the water looks transparent, it doesn't mean it's safe to drink. So when we bear all that in mind, what we are doing to ourselves is just, I can't find the words, even in wartime, when you poison the water bodies, it's a war crime.
Indeed.
So how much more in peacetime when we are happily poisoning our water bodies and our land, whilst the authorities look idly by and issue statements upon statements, but refuse to do what needs to be done. The laws are there, enforce them. That's what we need to do, enforce the existing laws.
Which institutions do you hold responsible for what has been done to the environment and especially the water bodies?
all our institutions. We have the Environmental Protection Agency. We have, so many agencies that have a duty to work and are not doing it. The EPA comes to mind, and the Ministry of Environment comes to mind, and of course, at the end of the day, our government comes to mind because you are in charge, you have the resources, and you can ensure that if people are opposed and are not doing their work, they should be removed. I am struggling to understand right now why the head of Minerals Commission is still there, because my information is that he has supervised some of the pollution of our water bodies by the licenses that have been granted, and which were still being granted at a certain stage when he was called before Parliament. So I'm struggling to understand why he's still at post. So we have a lot of people who have a case to answer, and I believe they will answer. But right now we are where we are. We have a president. He has executive powers. If he wants to stop the mayhem that is going on, he can stop it. So it's the political will to act, and then make sure that the agencies that are supposed to ensure that this stops do their work, resource them. Because if you don't resource them, these illegal miners are heavily armed. You don't expect somebody who is not armed to go there and be beaten up or worse, still killed. So arm them or make sure that they are well protected when they are going to do their work.
And finally, before I let you go, what are your feelings about what happened with the Democracy Hub activists who were arrested back last year, but the case has been dropped now? How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I was one of those who were calling for their release. It was totally unacceptable to imprison those. And I am very disappointed at the police and the courts. It's very disappointing to put in custody those who are highlighting a problem that affects every single Ghanaian. And then those who are causing the problems are walking free. What kind of country are we living in? So I'm glad the charges have been dropped against them, but you can't just drop the charges. Their human rights were abused from the reports that we have received. People who came to visit them were just arrested. Some of them said they were denied their medication, denied the calls they were supposed to make. So there needs to be a proper investigation. So everybody or anybody who denied them of their human rights should be held accountable, so that people realize that when you have power, you can't just exercise power to the detriment of people's human rights. So yes, it's a good thing that the charges have been dropped, but it is not enough. We need to have a proper investigation, and all those who were misbehaving should be held accountable, and they should get some compensation for the treatment that they suffered, only trying to bring to our awareness the poisoning of our water bodies and our landscape, and the fact that every single Ghanaian is at risk. Even those who think I can just add by saying, even those who think that, I buy imported water, even when you're bathing with mercury-laced water, it's entering your pores. Indeed. When you go to restaurants, you know the kind of water they're using to cook the food. So let's be real and get rid of this canker that will destroy all of us if we don't act yesterday. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. As always, a pleasure talking to you. Aula Sewa is with Eco-Conscious Citizens, and she's an environmental activist. Speaking on our topic today of the Galamsey rivers, the illegal mining, polluted rivers, a turning point or just an illusion. I'm going back to Erastus for his final words. Erastus, what are your recommendations to the government? Aula has talked about a state of emergency, repeal of that LI2, the one that allows people to go mine in the forest. What are your recommendations?
I'll tell the president that you gave me so much hope when you said you would deal with illegal mining. I'm expecting, in fact, a lot from you. First, enough of the press releases and statements. Get right to action. Get back to Parliament. Initiate the process to repeal the LI 2462. And then, Madam EP, I've heard you talking a lot, bold statements you are making. For the first time, I'm hearing an EPA boss come out that boldly. I like it, but please, let's talk. If you want to talk, go to the forest reserves where the companies have large-scale mining licenses and look at the infractions there and do press conferences related directly to those infractions. Let us know from your point of view what you are doing to stop that. I think you'll be doing us all.
Erastus. Oh, he's left us hanging. But, I mean, hopefully you can get him back. But he made this point about the EPA thinking that they're doing a good job. And if you read in the news, this is just 2 days ago, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, has begun an emergency effort to clean up Ghana's heavily polluted water bodies. It says it has already begun collecting water samples and is reviewing proposals from companies to undertake the cleanup and rehabilitation process. The chief executive officer of the EPA is Professor Nana Amma Brown Kluche. She says the initiative has the full backing of the president, expected to cost billions of cedis. They see it as an emergency situation to clean up water bodies which have been polluted by Galamsey. The EPA is going to clean up our water bodies. We've been picking up samples already and have proposals from different companies to rehabilitate them. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not just talk, but they're going to walk the talk and make sure that the action is taken to deal with our river bodies and keep them clean. A couple of messages coming in 055-556-1034. Togbi Ghana says she is right, talking about Awula Sewa. We should take this Galamsey issue serious. We are all at risk. There's another message coming in from, what's his name again? This is MD Sefiriosu, talking about the rapid rise of Galamsey activities in the Western North, particularly the Awin Enclave. Very alarming, and all kinds of destructive practices are happening. Degradation threatening biodiversity, influx of illegal miners disrupting local economies, families torn apart, traditional livelihoods undermined, individuals are drawn into the lure of quick profits, and he asked until when? So that's his question there. What do you think of the fight against illegal mining so far? The fact that the waters appear to be clearing, but the Erastus tells us that it's a temporary issue, and if you go towards the Prestia area, you will find out that there's a lot of illegal activity going on. Our number is up there, 0543-664-264. My ears are itching to hear from you, so please give me a call. We're looking at the Galamsey menace effect on our river bodies. Just to think that people were cooking with this kind of water 2 years ago, and now this is the water that they are dealing with. But who knows what's inside this, because some of the chemicals are odorless and colorless. So this could be a bomb in my hand, caused by mining. 0543-664-264. Let me see what the latest news on Galamsey is these days. Okay, Galamsey, what do we have? So, latest news. The lands minister is saying something that we all know. This is on gbcghanaonline.com. He says, we are in crisis. All right, Mr. Minister, please tell us something we don't know. Okay. Government is to review licensing regime and processes within the mining sector as a measure to ensure compliance in the mining space. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofibwa, says the measure is to stop illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, which has become a national crisis. So yet another committee has been inaugurated, 18-member working committee. Let's see how that goes. Samuel, good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. What's on your mind? Samuel, are you whispering or you're talking to me? Samuel.
Yeah, I want to comment on the Galamsey.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you see, as you mentioned, our political leaderships have failed us time and again. They have no will to do anything good. For us, there are other alternatives. Supervision and many other things could have been instituted for the right thing to be done. Institutions that have been set up have rules, but they cannot actually undertake their attacks. Why? Because the political heads are behind those who are undertaking these Galamsey things. So they are the people to be targeted. Ghanaians should hold them responsible. The leadership is what we need to tackle. Since Galamsey issue came to the book, this is what has been happening.
All right.
They have no political will to do the right thing.
So leadership,
they have their personal interest at heart. Only that.
Leadership is responsible.
We must do them. Thank you.
Welcome. Samuel, thank you very much. 0543-664-264, that's the number. There's an 18-member committee that has been introduced, and it's coming to deal with issues of land degradation and pollution concerning mining and illegal activities, chaired by the Professor Oting Ababil of the University of Ghana. They've been given 2 weeks to develop and create a strategy that will serve as a way to reform Ghana's mining sector. Let's see how that goes. Yet another committee. Let's see how it works. 0543-664-264. You can get the full story on gbcghanaonline.com. Another minister is talking. The Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, is urging a united front to tackle Galamsey and others. So yet and more talking happening there. What else? Elijah, straight out of the Old Testament. Greetings. Landed in Ashaiman.
Hello, good morning. The name is Schneider, not Elijah.
Okay, Schneider.
Schneider.
Are you German?
From Ashaiman.
Are you German?
No, I'm not German. I'm a Ghanaian.
Ghanaian, Schneider. All right, go ahead.
And so, like, what the last caller said is about authorities stamping on their duties to deal with this Galamsey. Because it is like both the top political parties, the NDC and PPs, they are just, sorry to say, joking with us with this Galamsey.
You don't have to apologize. If they're joking, man. Don't apologize.
Yes, because both of them, when they are in power, different what they say about the Galamsey issue, and when they are in opposition, different what they say in the Galamsey. And there is one thing I also want to say about our chiefs. I think our chiefs play a major role in the Galamsey issue, because sometimes I will sit and wonder how a chief in a village or chief in a town will tell a whole community that he doesn't know what goes on behind his territory. Sometimes I feel pity about it, but I think on the way forward, we should watch how we can all come together and deal with this Galamsey issue for once and for all. Thank you.
All right, Schneider, thank you so much. More news in the news on Galamsey, but the number is 0543-664-264. So the Aowin Traditional Council has banished an NDC MP over alleged disrespect and Galamsey allegations. So the Member of Parliament of Aowin, Oscar Ofori Labi, has faced the anger of his traditional council following allegations of serious misconduct and disrespect towards the paramount chief, several divisional chiefs within the Aowin traditional area. They have taken decisive action against him, banning their own MP. Can you imagine? The guy who is representing them in parliament, from setting foot on any land within the Aowin traditional area. They performed the ritual by pouring libation, sacrificing a white sheep while dressed in black and red, expressing their disassociation from Ofori Labi. Let's go to Abokobi and find out who's on the line speaking to us about Galamsey. Good morning, Abokobi.
Yeah, good morning, Kafi.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is Francis Dona from Abokobi, Ghana.
Francis Dona.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's on your mind? Galamsey issues.
Yeah, my problem is about the chiefs and the government officials. Because you cannot live in a community being called a chief, and things are going on in your community, and you say you are not aware. Secondly, too, you two are also involved. Because if I'm a government, I'm sitting somewhere, and you have problems, you have issues, and you cannot voice it out, how will I know your problem?
Yeah.
And how can I come in to solve it? And the last one, too, I'm also putting some of the blame on some of the media stations, too. Because instead of them to advocate on this Galamsey issue, so that the government will know that, look, the community and the social media, because everybody is interested in the social media now. The more it goes viral, the more pressure comes on the government, so that the government will know that, look, I have to do something about it.
Truly.
But they are only interested in other things. If all the media stations, as like you are doing this morning, they are all doing it, advocating it. I don't think when the pressure goes on the government, he cannot take a decision on something. But we are most interested in other things, because some people also pay some of them and they do whatever they like, so that their bid will be done. That's my problem.
All righty.
If we want this thing to be solved, the chief and the social media and the youth in the community, they have to raise an alarm so that the government will be put to check. Then all these things will be solved.
All right.
I rest my case.
I rest my case too. Francis Dona. Yeah, talking about the Chiefs, and I understand. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our conversation, and just takes me back to the video we played earlier on, just marking our trip just highlighting what we discovered when we went to the Western region last weekend. Many thanks to the crew, Paul, Roberta, Jay, Ray, Elikem, Magdalene, for being part of the team that did that. Waters are clearing, apparently, but don't get too excited because the Galamsey is still happening. For more, go to gbcghanaonline.com. You will find stories on Galamsey over there, and follow our social media, GTV Ghana, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. My name is Kafui Day. Thank you very much for being part of this conversation. Thanks to our